What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to be looking at more quotes from the Chicago Bulls players and head coach about the embarrassing loss against the Minnesota Timberwolves. One of the worst losses of the season for sure. And in all honesty, I'm not sure if we're going to be able to recover. We haven't been able to recover for a long time now, but it seems like things are getting worse and worse. And these players, man, even the coach, they say the right things. They really do. And there are some things that I get triggered by when, in terms of what they say, especially in the last time I made a video like this. But for the most part, they say the right things, but they never, ever really translate over to the court. All the nice words, all the good things that they say about this team and everything of the sorts and what they need to do to improve their problems, not one of those things have really translated onto the court. So we're going to be looking at more quotes and seeing whether or not they will get translated over to the courts at some stage in the next game, maybe in the next couple of games. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show. Turn notifications on and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the quotes that I'll be reading to you guys today, as well as, I guess, whether or not you believe that things can actually change from this situation or not. I do kind of want to take a look into the injury report first and foremost, and obviously the one that we need to talk about is Javonte Green. On the ESPN injury list, Javonte Green is listed as day-to-day. I believe that means he's probably going to be around probable to play, or at least questionable to probable to play in the next game against the Miami Heat. So that's one thing, and again, it's a back-to-back, so if I had to take a guess, usually in back-to-back situations, they would usually play the second night of a back-to-back, so that's what I'm going to go with, but maybe he'll be able to play both. It might be minutes restriction like what Io was on. I'm not too sure, but Javonte Green is listed as day-to-day on the ESPN injury list. So let's wait and see what will happen from that. Maybe it'll be a game time decision. I'm not really sure. Let's move into some of the quotes that was actually spoken about in terms of the Chicago Bulls. Here's what Billy Donovan had to say in relation to some of the quotes, ladies and gentlemen. Here's what he had to say. We're not escaping competition. We need to compete a whole lot better on the defensive end. He continued to say, I can switch to a zone. I can switch to different pick and roll coverages. But if the competition isn't there, it doesn't make much of a difference. Again, I think he's kind of throwing the players under the bus for the lack of their defensive energy on the game, as he should. Because again, a lot of blame gets put on Billy Donovan, and there are certain things that he definitely did wrong. Again, how did Andre Drummond not get any minutes in that game? How did we continue to persist on, I guess, small ball constantly all the time? These are big things, and when we don't have a lineup with a small ball center in it and we're playing Derrick Jones Jr. in there, I will always critique Billy Donovan. When it goes right, great. But when it doesn't go right, you put the critique on Billy Donovan because that's his system, that's what he rolls with. So there's always criticism for Billy Donovan there. But the defensive energy, absolutely it was terrible. That was the worst defensive energy I've ever seen from this Bulls team. The way it's currently constructed, of course, because you got to give credit to even some of the tanking teams that we've seen throughout the course of the year have put much better defensive energy into a game than that. So yeah, definitely in recent history, one of the worst defensive games I've seen from this Bulls team, and it absolutely is embarrassing. And Billy Donovan can call all the plays that he likes. If the competition isn't there, if the ability to compete is not there, then you won't get anything. It doesn't matter what you call, you won't get anything. But where is the motivation from Billy Donovan and the head coach to the players? It's fine throwing them under the bus, but what's he going to do to change that? That's the question. How is he going to make sure things like that don't happen? And I've been saying it for ages. Some of these players have to be punished for their bad performances. If Zach LaVine is high and dry on the defensive end, not playing defense on certain nights, and he's shooting like that, punishments have to be put in place for him. He can't keep on getting away with performances like that. Same with DeMar DeRozan, who has been for a while a liability on the defensive end. He's a good team defender. Sometimes he is, but most of the time he's been a liability on that defensive end. There has to be some punishments in place, man. I know they're high caliber players. They have a good reputation around the league and whatnot, and they're paid a lot of money. But if it's really at the bulk, at the core, and if you're not going to punish the core for playing this badly, then at the end of the day, we're going to keep on seeing these inconsistent performances and these really terrible defensive, I guess, performances from some of our players. It's as simple as that. Again, punishment. Sometimes that's just how it is. When you play badly, you get punished. Not everything is a hand around the shoulder. It's okay. Everything will be all right. We don't need that Zach LaVine mentality every single game where he's saying everything's okay. Sometimes you got to make sure people pay for their performances. Simple as that. If you could put Andre Drummond in the doghouse and you give him no minutes, then why can't you do the same with Vucevic? Why can't you do the same with DeMar or Zach? Again, that's favoritism, and I understand it because it's a political game just as much as it is, I guess, a factor of anything else. But I mean, I know it will never happen, but there has to be some sort of punishments being put onto this team. If you really want things to turn around, you got to make sure people understand that they're not safe just because they're paid the max contract. If you play badly, you should not be starting, stuff like that. But again, that's just me. I know it will never happen, and I guess we'll move on from that. Here's what DeMar DeRozan had to say about, I guess, the situation after that loss. He called the loss embarrassing, but he said when he played pickup at the park as a kid, he had to play as hard as he could to be able to take the ball home with him. He said the Bulls need to get to that. Bulls need to compete at that level, essentially. Then he also said, I'm tired of going home without a ball. Essentially comparing his situation as a kid to what it is, I guess, in the NBA, and saying he's tired of not competing, he's tired of losing. And DeMar DeRozan, look, there's not much time left for DeMar DeRozan to be, I guess, in a mediocre team. He doesn't have a lot of time left at the highest level of the NBA. DeMar DeRozan is still an incredible player. I don't care what anybody says. I don't think anyone discredits that DeMar DeRozan is a fantastic player. We might question his style of play and how it suits this team. Ideally, we would like someone that would maybe move the ball a little bit more, but DeMar DeRozan is still an incredible player. But he doesn't have that much time at that level. Maybe he will. Maybe he will defy the science and everything just like LeBron does, and he's going to compete until he's 38, 40 years old doing the exact same thing. But for the most part, again, is he going to want to settle in a mediocrity team for another 2 seasons? And I don't know the answer to that. I really don't. It's up to DeMar DeRozan to say. But if I was DeMar DeRozan, I would be considering my options right now. And the Bulls should very much be considering their options as well. So it's as simple as that. If he's tired of going home without a ball, maybe you need to go to a team that's actually going to earn the ball. Maybe you're going to have to go to a team that's going to earn their wins, because this Bulls team is simply not doing that at the moment. So we'll wait and see what will happen with that, if anything will happen with that. Ultimately, that's up to the front office. And last but not least, here's what Zach LaVine had to say. Until we band together and start helping each other, you're not going to see a different result. You can't ask the team for effort every night. That's the first thing we have to bring. It's just inconsistent. Guys in here are talking. We're trying to be leaders. Look, I'll give credit where credit is due. That quote right there is much better than "it's okay, we'll figure it out," because I don't see a way we can figure it out, and there's really no possible way most of the Bulls fans can identify how to figure it out. It's not just a one-man issue. Everybody, he literally says it in this quote, everybody is talking, everybody's at fault. There's no consistent energy or effort. And that starts with the leaders, of course. That starts with the big three, but it really does rectify, and it goes through the entire team. You only put as much effort as your leaders are, and it's as simple as that. If your leaders are not working the hardest and other players are working harder than you, you're going to see different results. You're going to see inconsistent performances, and you're going to see embarrassments like we did against the Timberwolves. So I give credit to Zach LaVine for actually speaking some honest words here and not just saying it's going to be okay. Because the truth of the matter is, even some of the best possible reporters, some of the best possible, I guess, people that support the Bulls are simply wanting this team to trade everybody right now. It really does feel like that. It feels like everybody wants this team to be done and dusted, and we go and create a new team. And maybe that's moving small pieces, maybe that's moving large pieces, I don't know. And honestly, I can't tell. But it seems like the way that this team is, most people are done with it. And Zach LaVine, at least he's being honest and saying this team is not playing. It's playing very inconsistent. They're not bringing the energy every single night, and they have to step it up. But I understand that. But of course, actions always speak louder than words. And like he said, he's very correct. If you don't see the changes in this team, then obviously you're going to see very inconsistent play. You're not going to see a turnaround from this team the way that Zach LaVine has put it, unless everybody commits. And I don't know why the reasons they haven't committed, but here's something that I kind of thought in my head a little bit of maybe a couple of hours ago. Goran Dragic also had a quote a few days ago saying, "The Bulls are not playing for each other." Simple as that. And that got me thinking to last year when DeMar DeRozan was speaking about this Bulls team and why it was as successful as it was. And he basically said along the lines of, there are no egos here. Players know when to move the ball. Players know when to shoot. Get everybody involved. Stuff of that nature. The things we actually want to see from this Bulls team is what DeMar DeRozan was preaching at that time. And for the most part, look, we were winning games, but maybe we were, I guess, blinded by the fact that we were winning so many games to really face those issues. And some people very much clarified those issues, and others simply were just enjoying the ride. And I was one of them. I was enjoying the ride. I could talk about certain issues here or there, but for the most part, I was extremely happy when the Bulls were winning. And when I look at this team right now, I'm starting to believe, this is just my own, I guess, opinion and my own mindset really coming in. I can't really back this up in any way. I'm starting to think now that egos are taking over for the Chicago Bulls. When Zach LaVine is benched in the fourth quarter of a game, I believe it was against the Orlando Magic, and now you see him in the fourth quarter taking some really bad shots trying to get us home, that's definitely, in my opinion, an ego boost. Remember when Jabari Parker said a long time ago that he was not paid to play defense? That was his ego, and look where he is right now. I'm not sure where he is. Again, I like Jabari Parker personally, but he's definitely not been a success story compared to where he was drafted, compared to where he is now. I'm not sure where he is right now. So again, I'm starting to feel like in this situation, the egos of this team is really starting to take over. DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, the isolation ball is really starting to take over. And you have some guys that simply don't have egos. That also is a big problem, because in the NBA, you need to learn when to take your own shot. You need to learn when you have mismatches. And the Bulls never ever capitalize on mismatches. I feel like that's an ego problem just as much as it is a coaching problem or a player's problem. I think egos are really starting to own how this team is played compared to last year, especially at the beginning of the year when the egos were so-called. There were no egos. Everybody knows when to pass. Everybody knows when to shoot. Everybody knows when it's their time to shine. All this stuff, I'm starting to think that that was either a lie or, especially in this season, it's a completely different story. So that's my personal opinion as well, and that's really all I got to say heading into this next game against the Miami Heat. Offensively, we played fine against the Timberwolves, and I haven't really talked too much about the offense in that game. Defensively was embarrassing, and I'm expecting a huge defensive performance in this next game against Miami. We have to. You got to respond in some way to that embarrassing night. That was a franchise record, or very close to a franchise scoring record for Minnesota, and it happened against the Bulls. There are a lot of history moments happening against the Bulls in the last couple of years. You've got to respond in some way. And I'm expecting Alex Caruso to have a big defensive night. I'm expecting guys like Vucevic to get a couple of blocks in this game. I'm assuming Drummond will play this game. I don't know why he didn't play the last game. I'm assuming he's going to have a good defensive night. But most importantly, all of the big three are going to have to step up defensively and really show what this team can do on that defensive end. Offensively, I don't know. We could still lose this game by only scoring 90 points and an embarrassing offensive performance. But defensively, I want to see something from this team. We'll wait and see what will happen. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you in another Chicago Bulls video. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.